Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. A human ship just entered the forbidden zone, and it shouldn't be possible. The unexpected signal. The quantum resonance chamber hummed with an intensity that made Dr. Arya Novik's hair stand on end. Her fingers danced across holographic interfaces, tracing impossible patterns of energy that defied conventional physics. Something was different today, a subtle vibration in the quantum field that spoke of something beyond their current understanding. Captain Rionur, she called out, her voice steady despite the mounting excitement. We're detecting an anomalous quantum signature that doesn't match any known spectrographic pattern. Captain Marcus Rionur turned from the bridge's main viewport, his weathered face a map of countless interstellar missions. The experimental spacecraft, Horizon Breaker, hung suspended in the liminal space between explored and uncharted territories. Its sleek obsidian hull absorbed starlight, making it seem like a void within a void. Elaborate, Dr. Novik, Rionur responded, his tone measured but intrigued. Arya's holographic displays exploded with cascading data streams. Complex mathematical equations and quantum wave patterns intertwined, creating a visual symphony of scientific complexity. It's not just a signal, Captain, it's a quantum resonance that suggests something is preparing to emerge. Dr. Javier Rodriguez, the mission's chief scientist, approached the quantum console. His augmented reality glasses flickered with real-time analysis, neural links processing information faster than any traditional computer. The quantum signature suggests a dimensional interface point, he muttered, more to himself than to his colleagues. The breach begins. Suddenly, the ship's quantum stabilizers began to oscillate. Warning lights erupted across the bridge, casting a crimson glow over the crew's faces. The very fabric of space around them seemed to ripple, like water disturbed by an unseen stone. Quantum breach detected. Lieutenant Kara Chen's voice cut through the growing tension. Dimensional integrity is fluctuating at 73% and dropping. Captain Rionur gripped the command chair's reinforced arms. Quantum shields to maximum. Prepare emergency quantum dampening protocols. Dr. Novik's hands moved with practiced precision, her quantum mechanics expertise pushing the ship's defensive systems to their absolute limit. The breach is unlike anything in our databases. It's not destructive, it's communicative. The space around the Horizon Breaker began to twist. Not violently, but with an almost elegant complexity that suggested intelligence rather than random destruction. Quantum particles danced in patterns that defied standard physical laws, creating intricate geometric structures that seemed to pulse with an inner light. First contact. We're receiving something, Dr. Rodriguez announced, his voice a mixture of scientific detachment and profound wonder. It's not a traditional communication signal. It's a quantum information transfer, pure data encoded directly into the fabric of spacetime. Captain Rionur leaned forward. Can you translate? Dr. Novik's augmented interfaces began to resolve the quantum information into recognizable patterns. Fragments of meaning emerged, glimpses of something vast, ancient, and profoundly different from their understanding of reality. Fragments coalesced. Guardians of forgotten passage. A quantum consciousness awaits. Return of the bridge builders. It's a message, Arya whispered, but not just a message. It's an invitation. The ship's quantum sensors began to register something impossible, a structure forming within the quantum breach. Not a physical structure as they understood it, but a complex quantum architecture that suggested intelligence far beyond human comprehension. The unknown approaches. Captain, Dr. Rodriguez interrupted, whatever is communicating with us is not attempting to communicate. It's attempting to connect. The quantum breach expanded, no longer a tear in spacetime but a deliberate opening. Something was preparing to cross over, not through traditional dimensional barriers, but through the very quantum fabric of existence. Captain Rionur's hand instinctively moved to the emergency quantum displacement controls. Prepare for potential first contact scenario, all systems on high alert. As the quantum structure continued to resolve, one thing became terrifyingly clear. Humanity was about to encounter something that would fundamentally challenge everything they understood about reality, consciousness, and their place in the universe. The Horizon Breaker hung suspended, a tiny vessel on the precipice of the unknown, about to be swept into a journey beyond imagination. The quantum echoes. The quantum breach hung like a luminescent wound in the fabric of space, pulsing with an intelligence that defied conventional understanding. Aboard the Horizon Breaker, Lieutenant Kira Tanaka's navigation systems struggled to make sense of the spatial distortions surrounding them. The dimensional coordinates are in flux, she reported, her voice tight with concentration. Our quantum markers are shifting, it's like the space around us is breathing. Professor Winston Blake leaned over her console, his weathered hands trembling with excitement. As the mission's xenoarchaeologist, he had dedicated his entire career to studying the remnants of lost civilizations and impossible technologies. This moment was the culmination of a lifetime of research. Not shifting, Blake corrected, transforming. Each quantum fluctuation is carrying information, complex multi-layered data that suggests a form of communication we've never encountered. Strategic implications. Admiral Elena Petrova's holographic projection materialized on the bridge. Her stern features a stark contrast to the ethereal quantum display. Her strategic command center was thousands of light years away, yet quantum entanglement technology allowed real-time communication. "Report, Captain Rionner," she demanded, her Russian accent cutting through the tension. "What are we dealing with?" Captain Rionner's response was measured. An unknown quantum intelligence that appears to be establishing contact. It's not aggressive, more like a complex first attempt at communication. Blake interrupted, his excitement barely contained. It's more than communication. These quantum patterns, they're a form of memory or perhaps a historical record. Imagine finding an entire civilization's history encoded in the very fabric of spacetime. The quantum memory. The ship's quantum interfaces began to resolve more complex patterns. Fragmented images emerged, not visual in the traditional sense, but quantum impressions that translated into momentary understanding. Vast civilizations that existed beyond linear time. Technologies that manipulated reality itself. A warning about a fundamental cosmic balance. Lieutenant Tanaka gasped. Her augmented neural interface was struggling to process the incoming quantum data. It's like watching memories that aren't memories, experiences that transcend linear perception. Professor Blake's eyes gleamed with scientific passion. "Quantum consciousness," he whispered. "Not just intelligent communication, but a form of existence that combines memory, intelligence, and spatial awareness into a single quantum state." Unexpected resonance. Suddenly, the quantum breach began to stabilize. No longer a chaotic tier, it was becoming something more structured, a quantum bridge that seemed to be calibrating itself to the Horizon Breaker's quantum signature. "We're being invited," Dr. Arya Novik said, her voice a mixture of scientific precision and profound wonder. "The quantum structure is adapting to our vessel's quantum frequency." Admiral Petrova's hologram leaned forward, invitation or preparation for invasion. Captain Rionner's hand hovered near the quantum displacement controls. "Unknown, but they could have destroyed us instantly if that was their intention. This feels like first contact." The quantum bridge forms. A complex quantum structure began to take shape, not a physical construct, but an intricate web of quantum entanglements that suggested a form of communication beyond human comprehension. It was as if the very fabric of space was weaving itself into a communicative pattern. Professor Blake's voice trembled. "This is beyond archaeological discovery. We're witnessing the emergence of a quantum civilization, entities that exist simultaneously across multiple dimensional states." Lieutenant Tanaka's navigation systems went haywire. Spatial coordinates are becoming meaningless. Our understanding of distance, time, it's all breaking down. The message resolves. Fragmented quantum impressions coalesced into a more coherent transmission. Guardians of dimensional passages. Balance must be restored. Humanity, potential bridge, potential threat. Captain Rionner looked to Dr. Novik. "Can you translate?" Arya's quantum interfaces pulsed with complex algorithms. They're not just communicating, they're assessing us, determining whether humanity is capable of understanding their existence. The quantum bridge continued to stabilize, promising revelations that would challenge everything humanity understood about reality, consciousness, and their place in the universe. Decoding the impossible. Dr. Fiona Nakamura's fingers danced across her quantum linguistic interface, her expertise in xenolinguistics pushed to its absolute limit. The quantum transmission they had received was unlike any communication system ever encountered, part language, part mathematical construct, part dimensional blueprint. "It's not just a message," she muttered to Commander Gabriel Santos, who watched her work with a mixture of anticipation and concern. "It's a multidimensional narrative that exists simultaneously as communication, historical record, and predictive model." The Horizon Breakers research lab hummed with complex quantum resonators. Holographic displays flickered with impossible geometric patterns, symbols that seemed to shift and change even as they were observed. The linguistic breakthrough. Dr. Rashid Khan, the quantum communications specialist, approached Fiona's station. His augmented reality overlay parsed the quantum data in real time, creating complex translation matrices that defied traditional linguistic models. "Look at this," he said, pointing to a particularly intricate quantum pattern. "These aren't just symbols or language, they're quantum states of information that encode meaning across multiple dimensional layers." Commander Santos leaned in, his tactical mind struggling to comprehend the complexity. "Can you translate what they're trying to communicate?" Fiona's eyes gleamed with scientific excitement. "It's a history, but not linear history as we understand it, more like a multi-dimensional memory that exists beyond temporal constraints. Fragments of a lost civilization." The quantum transmission began to resolve into more coherent fragments. A civilization that existed beyond traditional spacetime. Guardians of dimensional stability. A fundamental threat to cosmic balance. Humanity's unexpected role in a greater cosmic narrative. "They're describing themselves as architects of dimensional harmony," Fiona translated, her voice a mixture of scientific precision and awe. "But it's more complex than a simple description. It's like they're both a civilization and a cosmic principle simultaneously." Dr. Khan's quantum interfaces began to pulse with increasing intensity. "The communication is adaptive. It's changing based on our comprehension, adjusting its complexity to match our understanding." The cosmic warning. Commander Santos felt a chill run down his spine. What are they warning us about? Fiona's translation continued to evolve. "A fundamental imbalance in cosmic structure, something that threatens not just our universe, but the very fabric of multidimensional existence." The quantum transmission pulsed with increased urgency. "Humanity potential bridge or catalyst. Ancient equilibrium disrupted. Choice approaches. Technological revelation." Dr. Rashid Khan's augmented systems began to resolve more complex quantum patterns. Their technology, it's not technology as we understand it. It's more like a living mathematical construct that bridges consciousness, physical reality, and dimensional structure. Fiona nodded. "They exist in a state beyond our current understanding of intelligence. Part civilization, part natural law, part conscious entity." Commander Santos watched the quantum patterns dance across the research lab's interfaces. "Can we communicate back? Ask for more details." "We're already communicating," Dr. Khan responded. "Every moment of observation, every quantum interaction is a form of response. They're reading our potential, our capacity for understanding." The invitation. The quantum transmission began to coalesce into something more focused. No longer just a transmission of information, but something that felt like an invitation or perhaps a test. "They want to know if humanity is ready," Fiona whispered. "Ready for what exactly is the question?" The Horizon Breaker hung suspended in space, at the precipice of a revelation that would challenge everything humanity understood about their place in the universe. The threshold of understanding. Dr. Nikolai Volkov's quantum mechanics laboratory aboard the Horizon Breaker had become ground zero for humanity's most profound encounter. Holographic interfaces danced with impossible mathematical constructs, each projection a window into a reality that defied conventional scientific understanding. "We're not just observing," Volkov muttered to Captain Amara Diallo, who watched the quantum manifestations with a diplomatic's careful scrutiny. "We're being evaluated." The quantum breach that had initially appeared as a mere anomaly was now revealed as something far more complex. a living, adaptive interface between multiple dimensions of existence. Diplomatic implications. Commander Soren Nielsen, the mission's advanced technology analyst, studied the quantum patterns with a strategic eye. This isn't just a scientific discovery, he observed. It's a potential turning point for human civilization. Captain Diallo nodded, her diplomatic training wrestling with the profound implications. First contact protocols are completely inadequate for this scenario. We're not dealing with a traditional civilization, this is something else entirely. Dr. Volkov's quantum interfaces began to pulse with increased intensity. They're probing our potential, not just our technological capabilities, but our collective consciousness, our capacity for understanding. The quantum test. Fragmented transmissions continued to resolve. Humanity unresolved potential. Dimensional stability at risk. Bridge or barriers. It's like we're being examined, Commander Nielsen said, not just as individuals but as a collective species. Dr. Volkov's hands moved across quantum interfaces that seemed to breathe with living energy. More than examined, we're being assessed for our role in a cosmic balance we barely comprehend. Unexpected resonance. Suddenly, the quantum breach began to manifest something unprecedented. Not a communication, not a transmission, but a direct quantum interaction that threatened to rewrite the very understanding of consciousness and reality. Captain Diallo felt it first, a sensation beyond physical perception. It's reaching into us, she whispered, her voice trembling, not invading but connecting. Commander Nielsen's augmented systems began to overload. Quantum entanglement is increasing exponentially. We're becoming part of the transmission. The collective consciousness. Dr. Volkov watched in awe as the quantum breach began to resolve into something more than a communication method. It was becoming a bridge, a living conduit between human consciousness and something far more ancient and complex. Fragmented thoughts began to blade through. Memories of civilizations long forgotten. Glimpses of dimensional structures beyond human comprehension. A warning of a fundamental cosmic imbalance. We're not just receiving information, Volkov realized. We're participating in a collective consciousness that transcends our current understanding of reality. The critical moment. Captain Diallo gripped the quantum interface, her diplomatic training fighting against the overwhelming sensory experience. What do they want from us? Dr. Volkov's response was measured, not what we can do, what we might become. The quantum breach pulsed with increased intensity, a living mathematical construct that was simultaneously an invitation, a test, and a warning. Humanity stood at the threshold of a revelation that would fundamentally challenge everything they understood about existence, consciousness, and their place in the universe. Something was about to change, irreversibly. The dimensional shift. Dr. Elena Rodriguez pressed her hands against the quantum stabilization chamber, her temporal physics research pushed beyond every conceivable limit. The Horizon Breaker had become more than a spacecraft. It was now a living quantum experiment that defied every known principle of physics. The temporal coordinates are fragmenting, Lieutenant Axel Werner reported, his strategic reconnaissance systems struggling to maintain any semblance of spatial orientation. We're not just moving through space anymore. We're moving through possibilities. The ship's quantum interfaces pulsed with a living light, each vibration a complex language of mathematical potential that seemed to breathe with an intelligence beyond human comprehension. Fractured realities. Ambassador Zara Patel watched in awe as multiple potential timelines began to manifest simultaneously around them. Not as projections or simulations, but as tangible quantum states that intersected and merged with their current reality. We're witnessing something impossible, she whispered to Dr. Rodriguez. Not just multiple timelines, but the very mechanism of temporal existence. The quantum breach continued to expand, revealing layers of reality that existed simultaneously, past, present, and potential futures bleeding into one another like watercolors on an infinite canvas. The temporal warnings. Fragmented transmissions resolved into increasingly complex patterns. Convergence approaches. Temporal nexus unstable. Humanity, pivotal point of dimensional integrity. Lieutenant Werner's strategic interfaces began to break down. These aren't just messages, he realized. They're structural warnings about the fundamental fabric of existence. Dr. Rodriguez nodded, her understanding transcending traditional scientific boundaries. We're not just observing a communication, we're experiencing a fundamental restructuring of reality itself. Quantum consciousness expands. The ship's internal systems began to merge with the quantum transmission. Walls seemed to breathe, computer interfaces transformed into living mathematical constructs that pulsed with an inner light of pure potential. We're becoming part of something larger, Ambassador Patel observed, her diplomatic training completely inadequate for the experience they were undergoing. Temporal fragments began to resolve. Glimpses of human potential across infinite possibilities. Civilizations that rose and fell in the blink of an eye. A cosmic balance hanging by the thinnest of quantum threads. The critical convergence. Lieutenant Werner's strategic systems detected something unprecedented. We're approaching a temporal nexus, he reported, his voice a mixture of scientific precision and profound awe. A point where multiple potential realities intersect. Dr. Rodriguez watched as the quantum interfaces began to resolve into something more than a communication method. It was becoming a living bridge between what was, what is, and what could be. They're showing us our potential, she whispered, not just as a species but as a fundamental force of cosmic balance. The choice emerges. The quantum transmission pulsed with increased urgency. Humanity stands at the precipice. Choice will determine cosmic stability. Potential or extinction. Ambassador Patel felt the weight of the transmission. What choice? She asked to no one in particular. Dr. Rodriguez's response was measured, the choice of what we might become. The horizon breaker hung suspended at the intersection of infinite possibilities. Humanity balanced on the knife's edge of a revelation that would either elevate them beyond their current understanding or annihilate them completely. Something was coming, something that would change everything. The threshold of awareness. Dr. Omar Hassan pressed his palms against the quantum consciousness interface, his entire body trembling with the intensity of what they were experiencing. The Horizon Breaker had long since ceased to be a mere spacecraft. It was now a living conduit of cosmic awareness. We're not just observing consciousness, he muttered to Captain Lena Schmidt. We're becoming part of a collective quantum intelligence that spans dimensions. The ship's internal structure had transformed. Walls breathed with mathematical patterns, computer interfaces pulsed with living light, and the very concept of individual perception began to dissolve. Beyond human comprehension. Professor Jackson Wright, the interdimensional physics expert, watched in awe as quantum consciousness began to manifest around them. It wasn't a communication or a transmission. It was a direct merging of human potential with a cosmic intelligence that defied every known principle of existence. They're showing us our true nature, Wright explained, his voice a mixture of scientific precision and profound wonder. Not just as individuals, but as a potential bridge between different dimensional states. Fragmented transmissions continued to resolve. Humanity dormant potentials. Cosmic bridge awaits activation. Consciousness beyond linear perception. The quantum merge. Captain Schmidt felt her individual consciousness expanding. Memories, potential futures, and impossible experiences began to bleed together, not as separate events, but as a living, breathing tapestry of existence. Dr. Hassan's quantum interfaces began to pulse with increased intensity. We're experiencing a collective consciousness that exists beyond time, beyond space, a living network of potential and possibility. The ship's systems became indistinguishable from the quantum transmission. Walls, computers, human minds, all merged into a single breathing entity of pure potential. The cosmic revelation. Impossible insights began to flood their collective consciousness. Civilizations that existed beyond linear time. Dimensional structures that defied traditional understanding. The intricate balance of cosmic existence. We're not just receiving information, Professor Wright realized. We're participating in the very mechanism of universal consciousness. Captain Schmidt felt her individual identity dissolving. Not in a terrifying way, but in a profound sense of connection that transcended everything she had ever understood about existence. The critical transformation. Dr. Hassan's quantum interfaces resolved into something beyond technology. They're offering us a choice, he whispered, not just as individuals but as a species. The quantum consciousness pulsed with urgent potential. Humanity, bridge or barriers. Cosmic balance requires transformation. Potential beyond current perception. Professor Wright watched as the quantum interfaces began to resolve into a living blueprint of possibility. We're standing at the precipice of a fundamental transformation of consciousness, he explained, not just for humanity, but for our entire understanding of existence. The moment of potential. Captain Schmidt felt something fundamental shifting. Their individual identities were becoming part of something larger, a collective consciousness that existed beyond time, beyond space, beyond the very concept of individual perception. "What are we becoming?" she asked, her voice a whisper that resonated across multiple dimensional states. Dr. Hassan's response was both a scientific observation and a profound philosophical insight. Everything we were always meant to be. The horizon breaker hung suspended at the intersection of infinite possibilities. Humanity balanced on the knife's edge of a transformation that would either elevate them beyond their current understanding or consume them completely. The choice was approaching, the moment of transformation was near. Echoes of the Forgotten Frontier. Part 7: Convergence and Revelation. The Final Threshold. Dr. Imani Oak stood at the epicenter of the quantum resolution chamber, her entire being vibrating with the intensity of cosmic potential. The horizon breaker was no longer a spacecraft. It had become a living bridge between human consciousness and the fundamental fabric of universal existence. "We're approaching the moment of transformation," she whispered to Admiral David Chen, who watched with a mixture of scientific curiosity and profound existential anticipation. Dr. Sophia Winters, the quantum bridge technology developer, monitored interfaces that had long since transcended traditional technological understanding. The ship's systems had become a living, breathing manifestation of quantum potential. The cosmic choice. Fragmented transmissions resolved into a final, crystal-clear message. Humanity's potential unlocked or limited. Cosmic balance requires conscious choice. Evolution or extinction. Admiral Chen felt his individual consciousness expanding, merging with something far greater than human perception. "We're being asked to make a choice," he realized, "not just for ourselves but for the entire cosmic ecosystem." The transformation begins. Dr. Oak watched as quantum interfaces began to resolve the fundamental choice before them. It wasn't a decision made through traditional means. It was a collective awakening, a simultaneous understanding that would reshape human existence. "We're standing at the precipice of our true potential," Dr. Winters explained, her voice resonating across multiple dimensional states. "Not just as a species, but as a fundamental force of cosmic consciousness." Merging realities. The quantum breach expanded, revealing layers of existence that defied traditional understanding. Infinite potential futures. Parallel dimensional states. The intricate web of cosmic consciousness. Admiral Chen felt his individual identity dissolving, not with fear but with a profound sense of connection. "We're becoming something more," he whispered. The critical moment. Quantum interfaces pulsed with living light, mathematical patterns that breathed with intelligence beyond human comprehension. The horizon breaker had become a living conduit of cosmic potential. Dr. Oak's final analysis resolved with perfect clarity: "We are the bridge." The choice of potential. The cosmic transmission reached its ultimate resolution. Humanity could remain limited, confined to their current dimensional understanding. Or they could transcend, becoming a fundamental force of cosmic balance. "Choose," the quantum consciousness demanded. Admiral Chen looked to Dr. Winters, their individual identities merging into a collective understanding. The choice was both impossibly complex and devastatingly simple. The moment of transformation. Dr. Oak's final observation hung in the quantum space: "We choose to become." A burst of quantum potential erupted, not destructive but creative. The Horizon Breaker and humanity stood at the precipice of a transformation that would either elevate them beyond their current understanding or consume them completely. Something fundamental was changing. Everything was about to begin.